In the fall of 2006, at the very tail end of 30 years of active addiction, after basically creatively, resourcefully, and dishonestly running as fast as I can to keep the different disparate aspects of my life from colliding. And basically, I was a high-level behavioral health professional, spent many years working in addiction treatment during my active addiction. I was in a long-term marriage where there were many more good years than bad, and I had two adolescent daughters who I absolutely adored. And I was increasingly, hopelessly strung out on the opioid pain medications prescribed for a chronic pain condition, which really put my active addiction in overdrive, taking it from a place of relative dormancy in 1998 and jump-starting it. So I had a very active long-term addiction and a legitimate chronic pain condition. I ended up at LVRC specifically because in the fall of 2006, an internet search yielded information that it was one of only 3 programs in the entire country at that time that treated addiction and chronic pain together, and it was the only one west of the Mississippi. So it was really that simple for me. I had no idea what to expect. I wasn't especially hopeful, but I had to go to treatment at that point. I had to do something. For one thing, doing it myself always involved different variations on the theme of using successfully, because even though I had demonstrated pretty clearly, including to myself, that I couldn't use successfully, the psychological defense mechanisms, denial, minimization, rationalization, my personal favorite, intellectualization, are such that I still wasn't ready to consider realistically the possibility of never using again. By the time I got to LVRC, knowing that it was an abstinence-based program, I realized that I simply couldn't continue to use, and this was a breathtaking loss for me, giving up using, that I simply had to come to terms with. To my amazement, one of the things that I learned in the pain recovery part of the program was that of opioid-induced hyperalgesia, which is a phenomenon where over the course of an extended period of time of using opioid medications, the sensitivity to pain actually increases, and the brain biochemistry changes in such a way that phenomena become more rather than less painful. About pain recovery, and I knew about addiction recovery strictly from a theoretical, intellectualized perspective, and I also knew that more people had gotten and stayed clean through 12-step programs than any other resource in the history of the world, and yet I was equally convinced that it wasn't for me, and I was interested in a different vehicle for addiction recovery myself. And one of the things that happened when I was in LVRC, because in addition to being abstinence-based, it's very 12-step oriented. Even though I was resistant to participating in 12-step meetings, the staff worked with me in an especially elegant, gentle way to facilitate my willingness. I was very much gifted at that point because of everything I had been through with what we referred to as the gift of desperation. And I was so beaten down that I really had to be as open-minded as I could find the capability to be. And by being able to approach 12-step recovery with an open mind and an open heart, it occurred to me after the first few meetings I attended that if I had any realistic chance of staying clean, maintaining recovery for any sort of long-term period, that this was the best vehicle to do it. And Dr. Pohl was a spectacular and world-class resource, and the things that I learned related to pain recovery, in contrast to the conventional Western medical approaches of pain management, have been enduring resources that have helped me to cultivate awareness and build the skills necessary in order to be able to respond to my pain in significantly different ways. So in other words, an important part of the pain recovery process is to give up the wish, the quest, the fantasy of being pain-free, because it's just not realistic. To the best of my recollection related to my pain scores, on an average, when I entered LVRC, it was upwards of 8, and when I left, it was 2, perhaps a 3.
And today?
Today, it's in the neighborhood of 2 and 3 on average. I mean, it fluctuates. Living with chronic pain is an onerous, wearying challenge, and it's ongoing. But one of the things I've learned is that recovery starts with being able to tolerate, be consciously aware of, and ultimately accept whatever emotional and physical pain I have, as opposed to fighting against it and avoiding it as much as I possibly can. And it's with that conscious awareness, being mindful of it effectively, that I can take a look at it and not have the pain translate into suffering, which is the psychological impact of the pain itself, the negative, deleterious self-talk. I was in treatment at LVRC a total of 33 days, 6 days for medically managed detox because I had been on heavy-duty opioid medications every day for 8 years, and prior to that, off and on for more than 20 years. And most of that time was spent in the pain recovery program, although I participated in all of the addiction treatment recovery related activities as well. To my absolute amazement, because I absolutely did not think it was possible, I haven't had any opioid pain medications since I completed detox at LVRC in mid-November 2006, and I've had not only my chronic pain challenges subsequent to that, but I've had several acute episodes of very significant pain as well, but yet it hasn't been necessary to go the route of medication, at least anything stronger than ibuprofen. I've been able to use all of the awareness and all of the tools and skills that I was exposed to at LVRC, and have since developed further to be able to respond to my pain physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a way that's very fundamentally different, in a way that keeps me connected not only to the healthy aspects of myself, but to other people and to the world, where I can continue to learn and grow and heal, and ultimately live the kind of life that is one of quality. I was given hope at a time when I had none, where, as far as I knew, hope was not possible, and that learning how to live without using mind and mood altering drugs especially opioid pain meds, which I genuinely believed I could not live without, in over 6.5 years now, is really a miracle as far as I'm concerned. And that is the direct result, ultimately, of a process that began at the Las Vegas Recovery Center in November of 2006. And I will always be profoundly grateful and feel blessed for having had that experience.